Hi everyone, welcome to the first episode of Average FPL. What we're going to be doing today is we're just going to be discussing our goalkeeper situation going into this season, and we're going to answer a few questions such as do price points matter, should you rotate, would you transfer your keeper out, and we're going to go from there. So what this channel is going to try and do is it's going to try and give you really good advice, but in reality it's probably going to be quite average advice because I'm quite an average FPL player, but I do love the game. Okay, so I do think about it a lot and I do try and do a lot of research as well. A good rank for me overall would be within the top million. I think a couple of years ago I came about 460,000. Last year was a bit of a rubbish one for me. It was about 1.5 million. So in the grand scheme of things, you might say that's above average. If there's 8 million fantasy league players and 4 millionth place would be average, but really it depends on who you compare it to. So if I'm comparing myself to someone that's aiming for the top 10k, I'm always going to be below average. I'm always going to be doing a bit worse off than them. So hopefully what we can do with these episodes is help you to achieve your best scores in FPL. Now, nothing really qualifies me to speak about it. I make lots of mistakes, but I do try and learn from them, and I'm sure you might be able to learn from my mistakes too. So, going into this episode, what we've got on the screen in front is most of the goalkeepers for this season, got their price points, and we've got their ownership percentage, so the amount they're owned by fantasy league teams. Now, there's about 9 days to go until fantasy league starts, so there's still lots of time for people to make their teams, so these percentages could obviously change as we go closer to the deadline, but this is what we're working with at the moment. So we're going to start with top tier goalkeepers. So is there a place for those 6 million goalkeepers, potentially 5.5 million goalkeepers in your team? Now for me, there is a place, but it's on the short term. So I think if you were going to get in Ederson, Alisson, Mendy, players like that, it would be on a short-term basis if their teams have a good run of fixtures. So for instance, last season, I got Ederson in on a wild card for a run of games for Man City where I think they kept about 6 clean sheets in a row, and then I took him out again. Okay, so I really thought that Man City were going to guarantee clean sheets at that point, and it proved to be correct. And you just knew you were guaranteed those 6 points every week. Now, the problem with having a 6 million goalkeeper in for the full season is because they don't really have too much to do. The defences in front of them, especially against mid-table and lower, are so good that they actually don't have that many saves to make. Therefore, they're not getting their save points, and they're not likely to get bonus points with the clean sheet that they get. So you're capping yourself at 6 points. Now, where these other goalkeepers come in, these 5 million and belows, is you're really looking for a goalkeeper who plays for a team that has a chance of keeping a clean sheet, some or most of the time, but you also know that they're likely to make saves and they're likely to be a big contributor in the defence, and they're going to have enough action in the game to warrant getting save points and bonus points. So with that in mind, I would really limit your goalkeeper selection to 5 million and below. I think anything above 5 million, you're almost wasting money, because what you're looking for from your goalkeepers, a likely score for your goalkeeper each week is about 6 or 7 points. I would say if my goalkeeper got 6 or 7 points each week, I would consider that to be a pretty good game week. Anything more, I'd be thinking, oh my days, this is ridiculous. This is a huge bonus for me and my team. So with that in mind, you're really looking at a point spread in your goalkeeper between 1 and 6 points. Now that gap of 5 points each week isn't really shown, I don't think, in the prices price difference of the goalkeepers, I think you're more likely to see a greater difference in that price range, in that 1 or 1.5 million price difference, if you were to reinvest that in an attacker or a midfielder. I would say that difference between an average attacker and a really good attacker is definitely going to be more than 5 points. And you've also got these lower tier goalkeepers. They can keep clean sheets, and they're likely to face more penalties, and they're likely to get more bonus points. So whilst you might be guaranteeing yourself 6 points a week with Edison, you could be guaranteeing yourself 3 or 4 points a week with a Meslier or a Pickford, and they could also be getting 9 points a week if they've faced a penalty or they've kept a clean sheet and got 2 save points and a couple of bonus points. You're looking at 10 points there. And to me, if I can have that in that price bracket and then reinvest the money elsewhere, or just keep it in my bank in case I need to make an emergency transfer, then that's the best option for me. Now, there is an option to have 2 playing goalkeepers. So both goalkeepers are going to play each week for their teams, playing for different teams, and you then make the decision each week, oh, I think this goalkeeper's got a better fixture, I think they're better, they've got more chance of getting more points than my other goalkeeper. Now, that's great if you can guarantee you're going to make the correct decision. Now, for me, I don't guarantee that I'm going to make the correct decision. I don't really want to be worrying about that each week. I'd rather have a playing goalkeeper, someone that I know is going to play, and then a 4 million goalkeeper on the bench. Give me the cheapest option, whack him in my team, and I don't have to think about it. And also then, it also guarantees that I'm looking like I'm making the correct decision each week, because the goalkeeper that's in my team has got more points than my bench goalkeeper, so anyone looking at my team doesn't think I've been silly and benched the wrong keeper. Now, in terms of where I'm going to go with that then this season, I'm quite interested in those promoted goalkeepers. So your Norwich, Brentford and Watford goalkeepers. I think some promoted teams have a good chance of keeping clean sheets usually. You look at Leeds last year, Meslier finished on 154 points, and that was in a promoted team that you would say attacks quite a lot in Leeds. I think they're also got good price points. I'm leaning towards Foster and Bachmann, a combination from Watford, and I would want 2 goalkeepers from the same team, because if one of them doesn't play, they're guaranteed the other one's going to play. I'm minimising my prices. Don't want to minimise my points, although I probably will be. We're picking Watford goalkeepers. I want to be minimising my price so I can invest that elsewhere. Okay, so I would feel like the promoted goalkeepers are a good place to go. You've also got Sanchez from Brighton. I think Brighton are a really good option for this. If I wasn't going to go for Foster and Bachmann, I'd go for Foster and Sanchez. I think Gaeta, you don't really know what Crystal Palace are going to be coming out with this season. New manager, they've had a lot of squad rotation. I think Darlow at Newcastle isn't guaranteed to play. I also think your McCarthy and your Tim Krul, you don't really know what you're going to get there. If you were going to bump it up to 5 million, I would say go for Leno. I think Man United, their goalkeepers, you don't know which one's going to play. Therefore, unless you're going to get both, I would just stay away. Leno, Arsenal are on the up, I believe. I think they're going to be re-energised this season, and they started performing better towards the end of last season, and they could keep that momentum in there. I think Leeds, you're looking at a second season where the sort of momentum might be lost a little bit. So I would maybe stay away from Meslier, and then Pickford possibly, but Everton again have a new manager there as well. I think Fabianski and Schmeichel possibly, they're contending with Europe, so maybe at the start of the season. Now, you want your goalkeeper to really just forget about it throughout the season. You want them to be in there. If you've got one transfer a week, you don't want to be making a transfer for your goalkeeper. You really want to be looking at transferring, making those big point difference and the big climbs there in attack and midfield. So really you're looking for a goalkeeper that's going to play, that's a good price point, and that you're happy with for the majority of the season, unless you're going to be wildcarding or free hitting or bench boosting. I would just keep it at 4.5 and below. So yeah, let me know what you think on my goalkeeper choices and my advice. You might think it's good advice, you might think it's bad advice, you might think it's average advice, which is probably the most likely outcome. But let me know what you think, what you're going to be going with this season. I'd be really interested to hear your opinions in the comments. And the next episode we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the defence and the defender options. We're going to be looking at those premium defenders, those mid-tier defenders, and those budget defenders to maybe round out your team with. So thank you very much for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed it and didn't ramble too much. And I'll see you in the next one.